Checking. Okay.
And as Mandatory's checking, we are now officially live, or so I'm led to believe by the counter on my screen. So, Carnal will be Carnal is the title of the stream because apparently I have offended one of God's children. I have I have made them very very skeptical of my Discord in particular. For those of you who are not well acquainted with my Discord, we have what is called the dungeon. Now,
Hmm.
now in the dungeon, yeah, Mandatory is memeing, despite the fact that he is a known participant of the dungeon. So,
Oh, I
uh,
love it. I love it.
I,
It's not. It's not dungeoning enough for me.
I can imagine. Like I bet that is the case for many of you. But no, and the dungeon isn't really that much of a. You can't be too degenerate because I don't allow images. I don't allow memes. I don't allow porn
It doesn't.
links. Yeah, none of that shit. It's just for fellow carnalites to go in and express their carnal natures in text format. That's it. That's the dungeon. And I and then someone comes into now, mind you, the dungeon.
Carnal. Carnal.
Yeah,
I got it. I got to add this. He also expects a certain degree of adult uh, behavior in terms of be mature, act like an adult if you're going to talk about an adult subject.
yeah. I'm
He's only busted me once.
yeah. It's not a place where all the weebs get to be lewd, to say the least. So, anyways, we're in the dungeon and we're talking. And mind you, what's interesting about my audience is most of the people on my Discord are married. They are in committed relationships. They are lawfully wed, and they are talking about what they like, what they don't like, what they find preferable and whatnot. And out of nowhere, someone who is on my Discord says, "I'm gone," and I'm like, "Okay, what is going on? This is degenerate." Okay, um,
You're
I really
roboting.
don't. Am I roboting? Really? That this is
Yes.
literally this is a brand new phone, and so that either means that the internet's about to die and we're both fucked, or it's going to go away. Has it gotten better?
A little bit.
Okay. We'll just roll with it because there's nothing else we really can do about this. So, where was I? Where did I leave off?
This is degenerate.
Oh yes, I'm thinking to myself, degeneracy now has been reduced to married couples expressing the fact that they're married and that they have a fulfilling sex life. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
this is why the right is fucked. Like if we sincerely go back to the completely cucked tradcon notion of we cannot ever talk about sex again after we win the culture war, uh, guys, I have bad news. We're gonna go right back to losing the culture war because sex sells, bitches. That's just reality. And I'm not here to argue the point. It's
This
the
is true.
hand that we've been. It's the hand that we've been dealt. It's part of human nature. And I mean, we hear and we see the left doing stupid, degenerate things. And what's even more concerning is if when you look at the actual data, when you look at the actual reality of the left, they are when they're not being completely sexless or driving everyone around them to be sexless, they are the most miserable fucks I've ever met, sexually speaking. Like
Now,
I have
even
never
when they aren't doing that stuff, they're pretty miserable. But go ahead.
exactly. And then we have the right who doesn't talk about their sex lives at all. But if you poll them in secret, they'll tell you, yeah, my sex life's pretty good. I'm pretty satisfied. I'm pretty content. And so here I have on my channel the dungeon where pretty conservative people are talking about like getting their some. And then a fellow Christian, a fellow conservative comes in and says, "This is degenerate." Dude, grow the fuck up.
Where do
If
you
we
think little baby Christians come from? Do you order them from Amazon?
No, you get them from the Immaculate Mother Mary, as God intended.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
gosh.
Did you just say that out loud?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
my goodness. Yeah. I really don't know where. I mean, look, living a good moral Christian life is extremely fulfilling. And the fact that I have a venue for mostly married people to express those particulars is, I think that's where the right needs to go. I think that's where I think that's where it's at. I think that's where we need to influence the future, because the future is not going to come crawling to us going, "Oh, please share us, tell us about your wisdom." I mean, most kids think that their parents are stupid.
Hmm.
So appealing to tradition for its own sake, it has a limitation, and it's not really good enough to wait for people to fuck their lives so much that they have to come crawling back in their late 20s and early 30s to make up the difference. I mean, part of the problem here is we don't have a bunch of young 18, 19-year-old idiots getting married and figuring shit out. I guarantee you, if most of the if most of the population was a bunch of if most of our 18 and 20 and 19-year-olds were married, starting families, and they had to deal with shit like traffic tickets and court and waiting in court for all that long, these people having shit to do and responsibilities to maintain, they wouldn't put up with the small shit would just break down because people wouldn't comply, because they would actually be trying to take care of life on the day to day, while everyone else, when you hit 30 and 20, you're jaded. Like you like there's no chance of you convincing that you're going to change the system. It takes a bunch of convicted and responsible young idiots to get things done. So I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know how. Okay, so go on from there. I'm assuming you have thoughts.
Oh, I have many thoughts. Would you call Buddhism a particularly liberal religion?
What little I know of Buddhism marks it about a hair's breadth above nihilism. I mean, as far as what little I know of Buddhism, the only
Oh, we need
information,
to talk.
yeah,
We
probably. Well, no,
um
let's have the talk here. If you want to go from carnal to Buddhism, I'm down with
no, no,
that.
no, no. We can do that later. Um, Buddhism is generally actually pretty conservative. It really is.
Really,
Yes.
really now.
And you know who wrote the Kama Sutra, right? Well, who paid for its writing?
Who paid for its writing? I know that the Kama Sutra is Indian. That much I know.
Okay, okay. Siddhartha Gautama actually, well, he didn't pay. He raised the money and then used that money to pay for it. You know who Siddhartha Gautama is famous as?
No, I do not.
Buddha himself.
Oh, really?
Yes. He actually uh paid for the first sex manual. Um, yep. And he did it because he understood that these villages are almost all farmers. They need children to work the farm. And if the wife is
Right.
not happy with the sex life, she's not going to have the sex life.
Exactly. And conservatives know that alpha men are attractive men, and that it is attractive men that woo the women, and get women to at least enjoying half the things we want to entertain in our minds, because God knows we are at least internally degenerate. And we do have a guest. Huh? Runner's jumping on.
Oh, hi, Runner.
Yo,
Hey,
how's
Runner, how's
everyone
it
going?
going? It's
All right.
it's Carnal venting about his Discord day.
Ah,
So have you heard the drama,
no.
or 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 did you just jump in here not knowing what the hell you were getting into?
I heard I got up, saw you guys was streaming, watched for a minute about the dungeon and sex life or something, had a shower, then jumped in.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, it's
so
epic.
yeah, we had a fellow child of God who was offended at the dungeon in our Discord channel, and I was pretty shocked. I'm like, this is pretty tame. I don't allow memes. I don't allow porn links. I don't allow any of that
It
shit.
doesn't.
It is literally conservative couples talking about doing the dirty, what they like, what they dislike, things that turn them on, things that they prefer, and this lovely sensitive child of God just decided to take great offense that this thing existed, and decided to exit things in the Discord channel in terms of uh, I can't even call it explicit. Like
Runner,
well, it is technically explicit, but it's
Runner,
not
would you like me to read you
crude.
this crap?
Sure.
Okay. So Bill said, this is in the dungeon. A couple of people are talking, some generalities. Bill says, "I'm done." Colonel asks, "No, no." Colonel asks, "Dude, it's called the dungeon for a reason." And Bill says, "The heck of excuse is that?" Wait, what? Um,
Yeah.
you, I mean, nobody made you come in here raw. So
Actually,
what the hell is your
that
malfunction?
hang on.
I am reading
That
this and what?
that's not entirely true. Like I like William. William is the he's also known as he made the virtue signal card game. He's
Oh,
a
it's the same
conservative
guy?
creator. Yeah, it's the same guy. He's a conservative creator, and I like bouncing ideas off of him. I like his contribution to the channel. I like hearing his perspective, and so I have invited him back numerous times because for some odd reason, and it's bizarre. For some odd reason, every time William joins my Discord, Alex follows him and starts like Nas bowling all over the server. And so I have to go. And so William tells me he's done. He leaves. I wake up and I see that Alec has Nas bowled all over the Carnal channel. I'm like, holy shit. So I have to ban Alex, remove all of his posts, and tell William it's okay, come back.
Is that what this is really about?
I
So
have
this is
no idea.
so this is
No,
weirdly pretty normal.
no. And here's the thing: he didn't leave because of Nazbol. He didn't leave because of the 90 the 1488 posting from Alex that I keep having to clean up after. No, he left because of the dungeon. I shit you not.
The dungeon is supposed to claim us NSFW chat in fucking
And,
Discord. What are
and
you
the
I
weird
talking
know.
part
about?
is, Cardinal really does like, I know about things you guys don't even want to know ever exists. Okay. But
Oh,
He
no,
would
no, no.
never allow the really weird shit in there.
Well, and it's
It-
not that hang on. It's not that I wouldn't allow it, but I'd
oh,
make
you
fun of it.
wouldn't?
No,
No.
I would open, dude. Okay, let okay. How much do you think I know about degeneracy? Just on a
Hold up
scale
a
of 1 to
second.
10.
I'm not going to put this out for everybody.
Okay. Well, no, no, no. I'm not. Oh my gosh, he's making
I
me.
win.
Yeah, dude, I already know what that is.
Really? You know
It,
about that? I'm so sorry. I
yeah,
wouldn't have allowed
it's
it.
no, it's not that I would allow it. It's just that if someone
Okay.
ever brought that particular topic up, like I would, I would make fun of them. Like, honestly, I'd be like, "This is filthy. What the hell is
This,
wrong with you?" No,
and
and
that's when somebody says, do you want it in alphabetical order of alphabet or seriousness or severity?
well, no, no. So the question that I asked is, how much of degeneracy do you think that I'm aware of? Because I'm like, honestly, um, well, one of my most formative moments was reading Justine. Do you know of what I speak?
No.
No.
Okay. Justine is a novel that was written by the Marquis de Sade.
Oh,
And yes,
Ah,
the guy who wrote 120 Days in Sodom. And I got I bought his a collection of his works, like a first edition of his unabridged works, and it had Justine, it had a bunch, one of the plays that he wrote, and one of the plays that he wrote actually featured what you sent to me in uh, private message, scat play, except it was like way more gross. Like it
well,
was,
no, it was Marquis de Sade. I believe you.
yeah. So I've read Justine. I've read 121 Days of Sodom. In fact, I think Justine was worse. But yeah, that was that's like I have read the worst of the worst. Like like everything that the SJWs like are wanting to approach, like I've already seen like the primary source degenerate of them all in his full glory. And so
Uh,
it's not that I don't know of this stuff. It's just that I'm just like, well, this is for stupid people. This is for those who take their carnal desires to a unprofitable extreme.
yeah, well,
thank
Marquis
goodness
de
half this
Sade
shit
was
is
locked
flown
up
over
for a
my
reason.
head.
I'm
Today,
sorry.
Marquis de Sade have been locked up as mentally ill.
Oh no! Today the Marquis de Sade would be marching in front of a pride parade.
That too.
So that tells you all you need to know about the current LGBT movement. I'm sorry. What did you say, Runner? Because I didn't catch that because Mandatory was speaking.
Thank goodness half the shit you're talking about is going over my head.
Okay.
I
The
know a little
Marquis de
You
about the
don't
Sade.
want to
Marquis de
know.
Sade.
Okay. Okay.
You
No,
don't
you
want
don't know anything about the Marquis de Sade?
I know a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Well, just the synopsis is, the Marquis de Sade was the inventor, the originator of sadism.
I know that.
Okay, yeah. So he invented the whole bondage and whip fantasy theory. Except for him, it was never actually about consent. Libertinism is not about consent in any way, shape, or form. Libertinism basically says if you have the power to take it by any means, it should be yours, and you should take it for your own will and pleasure, all the way. So, when I hear bullshit about DOMs or the BDSM culture, and they say, "Oh, this is just our kink," I'm like, that's not it. That's not what sadism actually is. It's a whole other thing. So, Whoa. And we lost Mandatory. He is gone. Wonder if he's coming back. So yeah, Runner, that's what I'm dealing with.
Ah,
Let's see if Mandatory's coming back. Because yeah, that was sudden. All right, I sent him a DM on Discord. Hopefully he'll get it and hop on in. So, anyways, so yeah, I had a lovely child of God who was upset at my very milk toast conservative dungeon in my Discord, and which is, as has been described, extremely tame. So yeah, and since I have you here, Runner,
yes.
do you think that conservatives need to be more vocal about the satisfaction of their sex lives, or should that stay in the closet?
Um, if it's something like the dungeon and not out in public, I'm pretty fine with it. If it's
Yeah,
kept to like a discourse,
yeah, and
I don't
that's
mind.
that's kind of my thing is when conservatives don't talk about their sex lives at all, they make it seem like it doesn't exist, and it makes conservatism relatively unattractive. Like, why do you want to be a part of something where you're not going to get lucky? You know,
Mm.
man, mandatory really is gone.
Fuck.
I don't know where he went.
Hmm. Something must have happened.
Yeah, something must have, because he's signed out of Discord as well. I think his internet might have gone out.
Most likely.
That and that's been happening to people on this channel a lot. Just random polling of your internet connection. So we have damn. So we have Disavowed said that him and Stryker are having a debate on prisms sometime in the near future. I have no idea what that's in reference to. None.
Does he mean prisons?
No, based prism. It's I think it's another YouTube channel. I think it's like another like third option channel.
Ah, damn.
Do you think I offended Mandatory? I hope not.
I don't know.
Yikes. Anyways. Jeez. Do. So yeah, that's he was gonna tell me about Buddhism. And he was talking about how the original writer of the guy who purchased to put together the Kama Sutra is like he's the man in history that we know as the original Buddha, which I actually found very interesting. Um,
Ah,
so do, do you know who the what the Kama Sutra is?
nope.
Oh, the Kama Sutra is like an ancient collection of erotica that's based in Indian cult, like the Indian culture.
Ah,
So that's actually pretty neat. So and and he was telling me that Buddhism was widely considered a conservative faith, which I honestly had no idea about. So we can have that conversation another time, apparently. So what's going on in your life, Runner? Since I'm co-hostless.
Nothing much. Just I gotta rush the day off tomorrow, so that's pretty good.
Nice.
So I'm gonna pick up a few things tomorrow. I'm gonna go out and pick up a few things tomorrow.
Nice, nice. So, anyways, so yes, I was I had someone who was upset about the dungeon, and it was light stuff. Like people like the conversation that was happening at the moment was about whether or not um people wanted like if whether or not people wanted to learn like how to make a DOMS like a BDSM slave like as a culture thing, and there was just a bunch of the married people on the Discord where it's like all the ladies said that their husbands were the DOMs, which is of course based, and then you have the guy, one of the guys just like, I have two subs at home. I'm like, wow, that's impressive because apparently you're only supposed to have one. So who knows how he works that? Yeah, Godspeed to Spicy for making that happen in his household.
Hello,
Well done. Although I'm pretty sure he
hello,
was
hello,
trolling.
hello.
Can you hear me, man?
Ah, yeah,
Okay.
you cut out there.
God damn it! I swear the
Hello, still there?
I swear that Google has a hard on for this channel and cutting off our internet. Like it's pretty interesting. So man, this did not go well.
StreamYard must be buggering up.
Yeah, it must be. I have no idea what's going on here because apparently you can't hear me, I guess. Or yeah. Okay, and Runner is off as well. And so now it's just Carnal. And it's good that the stream is Carnal will be Carnal because apparently you only need Carnal for the stream. So that works out. So no, in my humble opinion, as I was saying before, I really think that the right needs to make a far more enticing argument to not just the youth but the rising generation. Uh, we need to make it a point to let those who are growing up know that conservatism can be mischievous. It can be sexy. It can be. Um, you can have that kind of. How do I want to put this? Because it's not necessarily deviant, but it is definitely like mischievous and playful and fun on the right. And it's the most wholesome thing. Imagine having a fulfilling sex life like they show on television, but not actually having to worry about whether or not you're going to be cheated on. Like that's one of the best things about being conservative is you don't have to worry about um, your love life falling apart or your partner being unfaithful to you. You actually get to have this wonderful relationship and not have any of the bullshit attached that society wants to tell you is par for the course. So welcome back, Runner. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, so welcome back.
Yep. Internet crapped out.
Yeah, that's what I thought because this is getting weird. This is getting really weird.
Yep.
Do.
StreamYard is pretty unstable.
Well, it's not just StreamYard apparently, because Mandatory is still on the Discord, but he hasn't answered my DM yet. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he's restarting.
Ah.
Maybe. Oof.
Hmm.
There we go. There he is.
One of these days, I'm going to learn to reset my internet
Yo.
just before I live stream.
You see, Mandatory, I was actually afraid that I had offended you for some reason. I'm like, he dropped out. I messaged him on Discord, no answer.
Did you?
I'm starting to. I did actually, but don't go bother looking at it now, because God knows how our signals are. So no.
Moving
So
on. What I miss? I'm sorry. Bring me back up to speed.
you missed literally nothing. I was just recapping everything that we had said for Runner's sake, and you were
Okay.
going to tell me more about Buddhism.
Oh, okay. Yes. Siddhartha Gautama was really pretty conservative on just about everything, and yet he paid for the Kama Sutra because
Yes.
he knew that these farming villages needed children to work the farms, and if the wife isn't happy with the sex life, she's going to avoid it. So
Yeah.
he paid for the first sex manual, which I think actually involves imagery that would not uh, meet Carnal's standards for the Discord.
Well,
Um,
no, and the reason I don't like the reason I don't in the Discord permit like images and whatnot, it isn't because of like Kama Sutra like images. It's because um I prefer that the sexual content be stimulating mentally before it is visually, because then it can just become too easy to how do you want to say, it's too easy to uh, dismiss or consume it rather than engage with it, if that makes any sense. Um, so that's why I avoid or don't allow photos in the dungeon. Because well, most people don't know this, and maybe they do, and we forget it. But the largest sex organ in your brain, in your body, is the brain, and you have to engage that first, or you should engage that first rather than the other senses. Like you should actually intellectually be invested in whatever content you're engaging in. So that's why I don't allow images, because it's harder for people to just kind of glance over it. It's something they have to actually engage in seriously, whereas most sexual content isn't geared that way.
okay.
So that's why I have it set up that way. It's not because I'm afraid of the Kama Sutra, for fuck's sake.
It still wouldn't pass muster. Moving on. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. It's literally the first sex manual was written by somebody, but at least by today's standards, who would be pretty pretty conservative.
Yeah, and I find that fascinating. Like it's intelligent, and it's intelligent that he would think about promoting sexuality, because if you don't have sex, you're not going to have a successful society. You're not going to have a successful future. You're not going to have a rising generation. And so that's why I think conservatives really do need to up the sex talk. They need to up flaunting the carnal and uh, beneficial, the sexual benefits of being conservative, of being right wing, and we don't. We largely don't.
We don't talk about
And
it.
no,
Or
and that
actually, I should say they don't, because I'm still a moderate.
yeah, they don't. And I'm on the right, and I'm dealing with people who, when they see something as milk toast as the dungeon, who apparently have to tuck tail and leave. They have to tuck tail and leave. I'm just sitting here going, this is why we lose. This is why we lose.
I'm pretty sure he's going to order his kids a Wish.
No, I'm pretty sure that's not true. I'm I'm
Are you
I'm
sure?
pretty certain. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that he's not. I don't think he's naive or ignorant to that degree. I think he doesn't think that that belongs in a public forum, and I happen
It's
to.
not public.
Uh, I know, I know. But one of his gripes is that I'm on a public server and I'm posting this stuff and having these conversations, or letting people
This
have these
stuff. Oh
conversations.
my God.
And
Colonel,
I know,
your
I
dungeon
know,
is still barely even uh, strawberry, okay?
I know.
Like, uh,
I'm very well aware.
because I don't know how far into any of this runner is. I'm actually kind of afraid to say too much here.
But no, and it was interesting because
Yep, don't
one
corrupt
of
the
the
innocent.
topics. Yeah, well, one of the recent conversations that one of the people in the Discord had was, why don't we have pornography or like nudes in the Discord? And I explained the whole the whole no photos, use your brain kind of thing. But then I realized, we have a lot of female users in the Carnal Discord, much to my surprise. Like, I had no idea when I would be speaking out to the public that I would be attracting women of all people. Like, political
Well,
discussion and conservative discussion is usually a guy thing. It's usually
Yep.
men. So when I realize that there's an active few ladies on the Discord, I'm sitting here going, well, this is kind of weird. And I was just saying, look, part of the reason why I don't think I've gotten any nudes myself is because the women here either A, are virtuous, or B, uh, they know that I'm a happily married man. And because I'm a happily married man, they know that if they were to send me nudes, I would do something. I would do something like, because I understand women, share the images that they would send me to all of the other women on the Discord.
Fuck.
maybe we should make it a new rule that you have to walk around naked one day a week. Hear me out here.
Okay, all right. Go on, mandatory. Go on.
Well, it would put all of it would put all of the secrecy and the we can't talk about that. Well, it's literally out there. So what are you going to do now? You're going to try to deny your humping in the back room? Just,
Well,
you know, just a thought.
well, I would take that a step further. Well, not necessarily further, but in Carnal's ideal world, there would be no pornography. Like, it would be made
Yeah,
illegal.
we,
But
we know.
I know, but in trade off, like, I would be willing to trade porn for like public fuck spaces.
But
Like,
hold up. Keep
hang
talking.
on, I'm dead serious. Like, if there was like a designated area where people looking for nookie and didn't have a partner would go off into the public park and have their fuck space, instead of like, prostitution and pornography, we would have that outlet instead, like a public fuck space.
That's not a bad idea. Runner, what do you think?
Sounds interesting.
Well, here's
Okay.
the but here's the thing. Even if we put that out there, do you know why it won't work? Or
You
okay,
had
no,
me
no,
there
no,
for a
no, no, no,
second.
no, no, no. Hang on, no, hang on. Let me rephrase that. It will, it would work, but it wouldn't be as satisfying as you initially think it would be. Like, for example, if you were to go, like, if I could wave a magic wand and this was magically the case, that this was a scenario and society we lived in, these parks would be filled with men, and there would be nary a female in sight.
I
And
bet you a
so it,
dollar there will be more women than you think.
oh, no, 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 I know that there would be quote unquote more women than you think. Certainly, I'm not disagreeing with that, but it certainly would not be a 1-to-1 ratio.
Maybe
In
not.
fact, in fact, if I had to guess, it would probably be like a 10 or 20-to-1 ratio,
Yeah.
which is going to leave most of the people heading off to the park largely unsatisfied. So
I don't think 20 to 1, maybe 5 to 1.
I
Eight.
think that is being extremely, extremely optimistic.
Maybe I'm an optimist. Oh, yeah, you might be right though. So,
Yeah. And the reason is simply because female sexuality is not the same as male sexuality. And there's a reason why men and women have to engage in courtship. There's a reason why we have marriage. There's a reason why we do all of these other things in society that, that all of these other things we've set up to work around that, whether it's prostitution, whether it's pornography, why all of these things are affecting us in such a negative way. But the argument that we didn't have a sexual outlet in society would be removed. And it would be far more healthy because your first experience as a sexual being with the opportunity of these fuck spaces wouldn't be something rooted in fantasy. It would be a very real, visceral experience rather than, you know, something that was commercialized. Just a thought.
yeah, hold up. Back up just a second though.
Okay.
Commercialize. And let's take a single building for every 20 20 blocks, let's say.
Uh huh.
It is nothing more than the, as you put it, fuck space. And to get into the building, you have to pay $5. Um, it's a 2 drink minimum, right? Yeah, I think maybe you'd be having a slightly closer to pair uh, ratio, right? Um,
Yeah. No. 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 And
and
here's why I say no mandatory, because I'm not stupid. If you were to have it in a building where there are nooks, crannies, rooms, a bar set up,
a
um,
bar setup.
uh, yeah, that is just begging for an underground prostitution ring, and that's not what we're going for.
No,
Wait, I thought that
you
was
wouldn't be
the
paying for.
actual.
No, no,
I
no,
thought that was. I thought that was. He was actually going with it.
no,
No,
no, no, no, no, no, no. The purpose of a fuck space is for the average person in society who's not getting any to go to the fuck space, find someone else who's not getting any, and just release the tension, so to speak. Um, there's inherently supposed to be no money exchange. That's the whole point of the fuck space per se. Um, yeah, I was not pushing for prostitution.
no, no. I
Um,
I think we're all agreed about that.
yeah, the commercialization of sex is not a net good. I don't care what the cuck Saint Augustine or what is contemporary what's his face Thomas Aquinas. I don't care what they say. They're wrong. The commercialization of sex is not a net good. It's not something you should tolerate. It's not something that is at least anything more than the continuing degeneration of society as a whole. But then again, I'm not even saying that the fuck space is in itself a good thing that someone should participate in. It's just something that is better than what we have in terms of human sex trafficking, prostitution, and pornography. I think that the fuck space would be a far more desirable replacement than filling your brain with lies, with something that isn't real. But that's just me.
Still, I think we maybe want to contemplate this fuck space concept. Although, in a park, I'm not thinking that's the best plan. I'm thinking maybe a building somewhere
Okay.
with a cover charge and a 2 drink minimum. I don't know what my obsession with this 2 drink minimum. Oh, I know what it is. Never mind.
Yeah, it's
Is but
it's the idea of social lubricant.
beer goggles. Um, but this is something we should like really contemplate sometime in the near future.
Well, I mean, and to be honest, I am not contemplating this unless
You're
it
not. I am.
completely. Uh, fair enough, fair enough. But no, I would not just thrust this idea into society unless it was contingent on the removal of all of the other bad things in society.
Yeah. Well.
It,
Yeah.
let's be honest, we can't throw this in with uh, child sex trafficking and
No.
pornography in the mix. You can't do that. You have to get rid of those things first and then say this is the replacement.
Um. You know. Would you consider the Romans to be a terribly liberal society?
Actually, it depends on who you ask and what sources you go to. But in terms of marriage and society and what is expected of a man and a woman in terms of their responsibilities, the Romans were not that extravagant.
They were
Um,
really they were pretty conservative
they,
overall.
they they were overall. It's actually shocking when you go back. It's there are two faces when it comes to the propaganda surrounding the Roman Empire. There's the LGBT bullshit where they say, "Oh, Rome was a progressive place with gay marriage and open acceptance and
No,
the
what? Who says that?
yeah." If you go to Wikipedia and you go through the
Uh-huh.
history of homosexual marriage and LGBT activity on throughout all of history, they will
I
tell
think
you
you
that
go ahead.
yes, and
Go
that they will
ahead.
tell you that they will tell you from those Wikipedia articles that Rome was a bastion of tolerance and progress. But if you
Huh?
go to Rome's actual values in family and marriage on a completely different page, you get a whole different story.
I
You get
think you said
entire
enough by saying Wikipedia, to be
yeah.
honest.
I understand that. And the reason why I'm using Wikipedia as an example is because only on Wikipedia, where the left can get the narrative that they want, can you have
Yeah.
such two radical visions of the Romans in terms of their and how they viewed family and marriage. only on Wikipedia could you get 2 different pages that say 2 radically different things based on the objective of the article.
And yet
And
Rome also had publicly subsidized brothels.
yeah, that is true. That is true. However, that's not something I can personally get down with because
Understood.
and and,
The,
and oh, I'll let
Go
you
ahead.
finish. No,
Well,
I'll let you finish.
the publicly funded brothels idea is kind of a bad one, because it does undermine other parts of society. So,
Well,
but they
and
did.
my
That's something they did.
yeah, they did, and I don't know how they handled that. Because from what I'm observing today, it seems that the sex trade and well, yeah, the sex trade and prostitution and pornography, like those 3 things are so interlinked, it's disturbing. And the problem with those industries is you are talking about
I'll be
a
right back.
Okay.
all right, go ahead. So the problem with those industries is you're talking about a all of economics hinges on the raw powers of supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the problem with these industries is the demand is bottomless. It's completely uh, like there is the it does not matter how much supply you offer, it will never ever meet the demand. And because we have commercialized sex, uh, we have created a monster where sex trafficking is a quote unquote necessary evil for these industries. And I shit you not, that is probably how these industries look at sex trafficking as a quote unquote necessary evil to keep a steady supply of fresh product.
Um, a big part of what's pushing the sex slave industry, and I'm just going to go there,
Go
um,
ahead.
is it is banned. You can't legally engage in this practice. So if you can get somebody who has to keep her mouth shut, well, that's a pretty good product to push.
Well,
And
I'm going to and this is probably unique to our day and age because of the nature of pornography. Um, it seems that given that the way that pornography works on the human mind is you get that hit of dopamine from X video, and it won't be the same for the video after that. So you have to find something that's more extreme or something that's more sensational to your brain. So, and that includes variety, that includes novelty, that includes something you haven't experienced before. So it might just be the the total proliferation of pornographic material that drives this bottomless nature. Again, because we're not informing our sexuality through sex itself. We're informing our sexuality through other means, through fantasy. Like your first sexual experience is not something that includes all of the 5 senses. Even like you're not smelling the partner that you're with. You're not because you're not with anyone. You're just you're just gratifying yourself in front of the screen, and so that kind of training for your brain in terms of sexual satisfaction is not has created something in men today and has morphed the sex market to a point to where uh, I think
okay,
that
well,
go on.
can we move on past the porn?
Well,
and get
it's
back into the Carnal.
yes. Go on.
Yeah, we've got to accept the fact that we are, and 2-year olds, believe it or not, are sexual creatures. Now, they're sexual creatures in a very 2-year-old sense of the word, as opposed to like a
Mandatory.
44-year-old like I am.
Mandatory. I
Yeah.
am I am more than aware of the studies that pedophiles have done on children, and
No, no, no,
I'm
no.
just going to come out
Stop,
and call
stop. No,
them
no. I'm not talking about
okay.
anything a pedophile would ever tell you. You can hang those guys. I don't care. Um,
Okay.
you have you have kids. Have you ever seen when your 2-year-old is potty training?
Um.
Because I had to potty train my kids.
Okay.
They play with
Um.
themselves.
I I don't think it's fair to call that to be sexually active.
Not specifically, but they're figuring out their bodies, and they're figuring out that this is a thing, and I need to figure out what this thing is. Um, and it, my second wife actually was the one that had to explain to me, no, that's normal. This is
Yeah.
okay.
I
Yeah,
I I
that's
understand.
normal.
Yeah. I remember those
Okay.
conversations, and it
Oh,
was
those are awkward, aren't they?
they're awkward as fuck. It's because how do I put this? I'm not I'm not surprised that those behaviors exist, but looking back at my own childhood, I'm not even sure that that's something that we can call sexual. I'm not sure that's something uh that we can designate with an actual intention other than I don't know, boredom or
Learning. They're learning.
yeah, they're learning, but I don't think there's any sexual intent there. Uh, so we have Alex Bleeping Jones. How's it going, Alex Jones? I'm just gonna say it, even though his name is probably
Oh,
banned among other things.
wow. Alex Bleeping Jones.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Alex Bleeping Jones. So there we go.
All right. So Alex Bleeping Jones is here. Um,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I need to try to refresh this because there's something wrong with my internet still. Moving on. Um, but yeah,
He says he's
we've got
doing
to
great.
stop pretending that we're all Puritans.
Exactly.
Or yeah, I'm the least Puritan in your Discord. Um, the only thing I haven't
I'm
done
more than
is
aware of this.
anything with another man. Run a couple trains
Well,
too, so
that's that's actually I have nothing negative to say about that.
oh, go ahead.
Godspeed.
It's I'm
Godspeed.
a gross bastard. Um, but
Yo.
yeah,
All right.
pretending that we're some sort of moral chaste people. It's just oh my god. Sometimes I want to choke these people. Like, all right, what are you, a leftist?
Well, and it's not only that. Like it's that there are some things about that Christians don't understand about their own doctrine, and there's a huge problem with Christianity when it comes to their foundational philosophy. Like for example, the early Christians made a great effort to conflate themselves and relate to Greek philosophy. And I have to be the ball buster, but Christian doctrine is not compatible entirely with Greek philosophy. Um,
Go forth it. be fruitful and multiply versus the Greeks who thought that oral sex was an insult to both the giver and the receiver.
Yeah, and not well, yes, there is that, but there's a problem with how the Greeks and the Christians approach morality, whereas where the Greeks approach morality from the point of you should live your life promoting the good, and the problem with that is everything is the good. Like everything is literally the good, and you can justify anything by appealing to the good. And by appealing to the good, you can literally commit evils for your greater good. Whereas Christian moral foundings essentially say there's a supreme authority, and this supreme moral authority has said X is evil. And whatever is in the evil box, thou shalt not touch it. And you can do everything that's not in the evil box. Just don't touch the evil box.
One
And
that's always struck me as weird because God Himself literally said, "Go forth, be fruitful, and multiply."
exactly. So, and it's not like the Christian God can come out and say, "These bodies I have given you, the pleasure of them is sinful." He's never said that. Pleasure is not a sin in the Christian doctrine. And so I don't understand this prudish way in which we have somehow turned chastity into a greater good virtue. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like
Yeah, kind of.
it's like we've turned chastity into this greater good virtue where we try to promote chastity at the expense of everything. Whereas if you were to realize that Christian chastity is simply the manifestation of not doing what is in the evil box, then you actually have a happier individual, you have a happier society, you have a more advantageous and presentable culture that is strong, that can promote itself, like what Buddha did with the Kama Sutra. That
Yeah.
you have a way to move forward and to show the future. Yeah, you can be Christian, you can have sex, you can have fun. It's great. You don't have to worry about your partner cheating on you if you live this kind of life. It is it's a fantastic way to live. Let's talk about it. We've turned chastity into a greater good, and it's killing us. It's literally cucking us into submission, into being culturally irrelevant, and I can't stand it.
Um, yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah,
God is Himself said, fuck like rabbits and make as
pretty
many
much.
babies as you can. Um, you know, my brother died last week, right?
I yes, and I'm pretty sure I sent my condolences over
You
Discord.
did, you did. Um, he had no children.
Oh, that's sad.
45 years old,
Fuck.
no kids. I'm 44 and I've got seven. I lost
Seven
count.
kids?
Yes. Um,
Fuck.
multiple mothers.
Dang.
Although, it, in my sort of defense, I only found out about the first one when he was 19.
Hmm.
Um,
Wait, say that again. I think I missed it.
I learned about the first one when he was 19.
Oh, that sucks.
Poor kid.
I'm not happy either. Um,
Yikes.
and but his mother's actually a very decent person, and her youngest grandchild is older than her oldest child.
Wait, come again?
Her youngest grandchild,
Okay, got it. Okay.
the 19-year-old's baby boy,
Uh-huh.
is actually older than her youngest child, the only daughter.
Okay. That
Um,
that made more sense than what I initially heard. Well, we actually have a comment that says no bucks given. I don't think we're practicing chastity. We're just using birth control. And yes, that was an interesting point. I had a teacher, a religious teacher, come up to the religious classroom, and we're a bunch of college students, and he said that teen pregnancy was down and that this was a good thing. And does it mean that we're being more moral? And the rest of the class just kind of looked at him like, oh, my sweet summer child, you have no idea what we're about to tell you. And
hmm,
it was because, teen pregnancy isn't down because kids are being more moral. It's because they're using contraception, they're using condoms more often. They're using and
oral
they're
sex.
yeah, and it's not because they're being more chaste. And it was an interesting moment because you have this statistic that seems like it's a good when it's actually not. The real metric of a moral society is the amount of children born into wedlock at younger ages. Well, when their parents are younger, like that would be a far stronger sign of a moral society is younger people getting married and having kids in wedlock.
Um, you got to track those numbers very carefully. After
And then
World
we
War
have
II, there was a lot of children being born about
uh-huh.
6 to 8 months after the wedding. I'm just, I'm just saying.
Oh, well,
Yep.
you know what, mandatory. You know what? I will give that a pass. To be honest, I will give it a pass when two people meet, date, get carried away, have relations, and then decide after they know that a child's on the way and they say, you know what, we're going to do the right thing, let's get married. I'll forgive that. Like, I have no problem. I have no problem with two idiots coming together and figuring shit out. As long as they actually decide that they're going to figure shit out, then just push the responsibility onto someone else or to pretend it never happened. And then we have the wonderful comment from Disavowed that reads, they are into anal. Well,
Um, I know that
I
happened when I was in high school. It was
actually,
not that common, but it did happen.
I you guys are going to learn a fantastic fantastic trivia about Carnal right now, since anal was brought into the discussion. Um, I lost my V card to anal. Like, my first time having sex with a woman was anal.
Okay.
Okay.
Had to clarify that, didn't I?
Yeah, well, no, didn't have to clarify it too much. I've I've done it. That's
Well,
why one of the F words is one of my safe words.
here's the weird thing, though. I didn't know it was anal until I'd already finished, and she told me after.
Whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
Well,
and that's one of the moments where you realize that you should that was one of the signs that I should have realized with this girl that I didn't pick up on, because it was kind of my first time and I had no idea how any of this worked.
what did she say to the unexpected?
Oh, she didn't say
This
anything until I was done, and then she said, well, that's something off the bucket list. And I'm just like, okay, I'm talking like not even a whimper. Okay? Like, there was no indication that I was going in the wrong place.
Dom Young Chung, Dom Young Chung.
And so I think back to it later going, I don't think that was her first anal experience. Just a hunch. Because there was nothing. There was no lube. There was no Vaseline. Like that. There was
What's
nothing.
lube? Oh, yeah, I'm not supposed to say that out loud, am I?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, that was how I lost my virginity, boys and girls, was with someone I should not have been with in any way, shape, or form.
Why not? I mean,
Well,
yeah,
let,
I
let,
said
let
that
me
out
put it
loud.
this way. Yeah. Let me put it this way. She was pretending to be a very religious person. We were both we both had shared values, and that that should have been one of the signs to me that this probably wasn't going to end well. And so yeah, the lesson learned. Lesson learned.
Hmm. Um. Oh, honest. Uh, Interesting aside. Um. Oral sex. It's not procreative, right?
Okay. Well, what's the point? It's still fun.
Well, besides that, um, bats are documented as having performed oral sex.
Okay. So Batman's a freak,
Maybe, but that's not the
but
point here.
yeah.
Um,
So okay.
it's not as natural as people seem to think it is.
Well, I mean, who? I don't know. I've never been on the this kind of sex bad wagon unless it's like, I don't know. For me, the topic isn't about whether it's natural or unnatural. It's, I don't know. For some odd reason, that whole argument does not come to my mind at all. Maybe it's because I am somewhat naturally degenerate, you could say. But
Uh,
I've never, like, I didn't need to know about bats for me to be convinced that, oral sex isn't something I should shy away from. It's
we just need to stop focusing on procreative only and be willing to say, okay, let's look at everything. Now, Carnal does, people. Carnal is
Wait, what?
already. You're almost caught up to me. Um, Versus, I mean, and there's still people out there, especially in the conservative community, procreative only.
That's lame. And I honestly don't think uh I don't think by and large most conservative people in practice actually believe that. I don't think they practice it. I don't think they care. I think they want to enjoy, and they do enjoy their sex lives like normal people. So when people say procreative only, I don't know who they're preaching to. I don't
Each
know
other
who they're.
mostly.
I suppose, but I think maybe because it's forbidden, they, like, the conservatives get more fun out of it. I don't. I honestly couldn't solve that Rubicon for you because I've never actually been taught that uh, sex that wasn't reproductive was bad. I've never been of that persuasion. I've never been of that mind. What I do know is that there are people who wig out over it, and I can't understand that in the slightest. I
I was
don't.
brought up with that mindset.
You were.
Yeah.
So explain
I
to me
know
how
new
that works.
breakers.
What is it?
Wait,
Newt Gingrich was not one of the ones preaching that.
he wasn't?
He's talked about very topically the alternatives. This was way back before the Clinton impeachment.
Uh-huh.
And I honestly I don't remember exactly what he said, but he mentioned the subject. And okay, I'm gonna get off that tangent and let Runner go. What were you saying, Runner?
I was brought up with that mindset.
Okay, so you were brought up with that mindset, and how was it like? How was it presented? Like, what is it actually expected that sex is supposed to be like only for baby making? It's not supposed to be anything outside of a missionary with a sheet. Like, how does that? How is that exactly presented and expected to be lived up to?
Give me a minute. Someone's at my door. Yeah? Dinner. Alright, I'll be out in 5. Alright, do you want them with jalapenos or without jalapenos? With jalapenos?
All right, this is a very candid moment
Alright.
on the Carnal stream.
I'm
Welcome
here.
to Runners. How's it going, Runner? Please
Yep.
continue.
This was when I was in a Bible thing called Boys Brigade, and it was taught that only reproduction and let God sort out the gays, basically.
Okay. Interesting. Did you? Oh my gosh. So it was.
But this was my company. I didn't know about other Boys Brigade companies.
Wait, what was it called again?
Boys Brigade. And how the structure worked, it split up into different companies.
Okay. Oh,
So
okay.
it's its
Brigade.
own brigade, yeah.
Okay, so
Oh,
Boys Brigade.
we thought you were saying boys gay.
Yeah.
I did.
Boys
Yeah.
Brigade.
Okay. Got it.
Sorry.
Got it. Okay.
Sorry, it's
That
a
that
normal thing.
that makes a little more sense. I'm far less concerned now. You had me worried there. So how's it going, Sean Stryker? Pleasure to see you on the stream. Here you have a debate coming up. If you got some spare time, hop on if you like. This is an interesting conversation. Yeah, that's same here. I heard Boys Be Gay.
Yeah.
No, it's apparently Boys Brigade. So so apparently in this Boys Brigade, you were taught that you were only supposed to have sex for reproduction. So yes.
Nah, don't worry, it's fine.
So Stryker says enunciate your R's.
Yeah, moving on. So they told you you can only do it for procreation and keep going.
And let God sort out the gays.
And that God allowed the gays.
Let God sort out the gays.
Okay, so let God sort out the gays.
Yes.
Okay, got
Um,
it.
You know what? If God wants to see some gays getting smite, maybe God got to get off his throne, get down here and do some smiting on his own. Okay, I'm not doing his job for him. I got my own job to do.
Well, I agree with you, mandatory. It is let God enforce his own rulings. And on that note, we need to stop all AIDS funding. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, it's not like he hasn't spoken on the issue. It's not like he's done nothing. I'm going to give credit where it's due. He had a fantastic agenda, and it seems to be working out.
You know,
No,
it's not just gays who get AIDS, right?
yeah, but they're
Just
like in the
saying.
90 percentile. Let's not kid ourselves.
I've got to go for like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I'll be right back.
Okay, no bucks given. Helping your uncle jack off the horse versus helping your uncle Jack off the horse.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's I actually don't know if that's actually very relevant to the conversation, but it was spicy enough for me to highlight, comment, and read.
This is mostly about jacking off a horse.
Well,
Moving on. Or not?
well, it's no, I have nothing else to say on that topic. I'm not touching that any further.
Uh, I would, but we're not talking about commas here. Moving on is yeah, you should read the Karma Sutras should be mandatory reading for everyone who turns the day they turn 18. No, 17.
So what? The senior course before they graduate. Here, have the Kama Sutra.
Close
Go
enough.
forth and multiply, my child.
Go forth and multiply, and as often as possible. Um. Uh. God damn it. The
Okay. So let me ask you a question, mandatory. Do you
Yep.
think that we should I'm all for bringing back in high school like the home econ classes for women primarily because that's who mainly took those classes. Bringing back home econ. Um, One of my favorite things would be to like have like legitimate economic financial courses like balancing a checkbook kind of course in your freshman year, and just having like pro marriage, pro family courses in the high school curriculum because that being an adult is kind of what every kid should want to do, like knowing how to function in life and knowing how to provide and take care of a partner. um should we have like marriage courses in high school? Like, is that something that we should endorse?
Yes.
All right, I'm
And
actually on
I'll
board
go
with
one
that.
step further. I'll go
Okay.
one step further. You've got, let's say a school of 200 kids and they're 100 boys, 100 girls, right? If you have volunteers that say, me and Sally are going to be a couple, okay, great. You two go over here. You two go over with them. You guys have already decided you're okay, hooked up. Great. You two are now married for the rest of this school year. Your other, 50 or whatever students, they all just get assigned. Right. Okay.
Wow.
Bob, you're going to be married to Sue, and Lisa, you and Owl are going to be married for the rest of the school year. And you've got to make it work, by the way.
So
You
like
cannot file for
domestic
divorce.
okay. All right. So like mandatory domestic training for self-selecting partners.
More or less, yes.
Well, I actually think this is pretty based. Like, I think that if a 14-year-old kid says, "Yeah, I want to make out with this cute girl down in the school and she likes me back," I'll be like, "Oh yeah, you're both acting like adults. Let's go throw you right into the fire."
Why not?
I'm down with it. Like, I love this
Um,
idea. If you're going to declare yourself an item in high school, you need to be put through the ringer. I support this. unironically.
And if you refuse to take the class, you don't get an F. You get sent to the shit. In the Catholic Church, it's the priest or the chaplains and the nuns. Clergy. You get
Yeah.
sent to the clergy, and at lunch, let's say, you have to sit by yourself over at one table with just boys, just girls, and maybe the habit, because nothing's wrong with a habit. Oh shit, I can't say that out loud, can I? Um, but
uh,
yeah, they're all the absolute chest, and let's say during lunch, you have to sit with your uh, spouse. You have to talk to
okay.
them. You can't argue with them. Oh my god. Well, what else? Would you have to actually learn to be able to be married to somebody?
Wait, say that again a little slower. I want to savor that statement.
Um, you'd have to sit with them during lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you can't fight with them. You can't argue with them. You have to talk to them. And what else would you really need that is practical at the high school level to be a married couple? There would be some budgeting. You
Yes.
get a in school allowance that you could spend on sodas, maybe at the snack bar.
Well, as I said, freshman year should be a basic econ self-finance course. That should be enough to cover all that whole concept. The idea of giving them I don't know, an allowance is taking it a bit too far. Um,
Well, an in school allowance, but okay. Um,
yeah.
the sort of things you would actually need to deal with to be a married couple. And at the end of the year, your the project is over and you allowed to go your separate ways now because you couldn't stand Sue for anything, and she could barely tolerate you. So, um, but yeah, and you'd have a little bit of experience on how to be a married couple.
Yeah. I actually like that. I like it better when it's self-selected. Like
Yeah,
you find
I
these
agree.
kids
I
who
agree.
say, "Oh, we think we should be a romantic item," and the school looking at that going, "Oh, really? Do you know what it takes to be a real romantic item?" And then just put them through the abs, put them to the test, make them share classes, make them go through the
Share classes. Yes. I love
make them
that.
go through make them go through the rigmarole of being a recognized institution, a recognized a force. Hey, yeah, I like this idea. It has merit. It has merit.
It's not perfect, I know, but I think we can figure this one out.
Yo,
How's it going, Hunter?
Um, No Bucks Given asked, should the government be required to pay for sexual services for people on disability who may be bed confined or paralyzed? And I'm saying maybe.
Um. Okay. I'm gonna do a hard no on this because how do I put this? Because then we have to uh evaluate, for the lack of a better word, each individual's sexual needs and frequency, and we are again going to purity spiral all the way down into a bottomless market, and or
Oh,
a bottomless demand. And
really?
I think we have Sean Stryker here. How's it going, Sean?
Kind of busy. I'm doing a walk right now. One of these employees forgot to sign out, so I had to walk him to the office, get him to sign out, and walk him back. You know.
I understand. I
Can
understand
you hear me over the trucks,
entirely.
or is it too loud?
Oh no, you're actually all right. So what do you have to share on the stream's topic?
Well, I dropped out for about 5 minutes. Bring me up to speed. What I missed from the boys joke I was cracking.
Oh, we actually started talking about making kids in high school who want to make themselves a romantic item, making them share classes and doing basically home econ together. With I think the males doing things like basic financials, budgeting and whatnot, and the basic female home econ classes that they all used to do back in the day anyway. And just reminding people that when they become romantically involved, that it does come with responsibility.
Well, how are you going to know if the kids are romantically involved? Do we have to snoop on them, or how does that work?
They fucking tell you, good sir.
What, kids don't sneak around?
Oh, kids sneak around, but when it's around school, when it's in class, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious.
Well, for junior high back in my day, we had home economics as a mandatory elective.
Mandatory elective.
There's
Tell
no
me
such
more.
thing.
It's just like mandatory fun in the Marine Corps.
Oh my
Welcome to the
goodness.
suck.
Yep. But no, it's not a secret that kids these days who want to pretend that they're in a relationship, that they're being romantically active, it's fairly obvious. It's not going to be it's not going to be too difficult to miss. It's not like they're going to be and I assure you, if there is a couple out there who says we want to fly under the radar, I'm really not going to worry about it, because the kind of kids that I want to influence are those who can't help themselves but make it public. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I just have to ask, how young are you talking here? Because we got the globalists and the
We were
left
talking
pushing that
about
over to
high
the window.
school.
We were talking about high
Yeah.
school.
Well, I'm of the mindset that much you could probably relate to it, carnal conservative, that we should be making these kids wait till marriage to do that, not out of putting any of our religious bias into it, but rather a societal bias into it, that they need to be more stable before they are in a position to bring life into the world. Of course, most of these kids don't get that.
Whoa, hang on. Not every high school relationship entails sex. Like, that's I wasn't even making that assumption. I'm just saying kids who
Yeah, I was talking
generally,
about making them talk at lunch.
yeah, these
Carnal
are kids
actually
just
added
being
to it
kids.
really clever. Carnal had a really clever addition, make them actually take a class together, which is, I thought that was a brilliant touch.
Well, here's the thing. What are we defining then as romantically involved? Are they holding hands? Are they necking? Yada,
Yeah.
yada. Because you're going to have to see, this is where you get into their Fourth Amendment of these kids. As I know they don't have the rights of an adult, but they still have rights as humans
Oh
to
my
some modicum of
goodness.
privacy.
No, you don't. You don't have a right to privacy for something that you are doing on what is generally government property anyway. Going through a school curriculum. If you're holding hands, if you're making out, if you're doing all of those things, and a counselor or a teacher walks up and goes, "Yeah, you got to take these classes, guys. We're signing you up."
Well, that actually, the schools could do that if they chose to under in loco parentis, because once you turn your kids over to the schools get to call the shots. I actually have ruled on that. That's why they used to be able to do corporal punishment. So I could see it being done by the schools, but I also see the other side of it, where you're going to have a lot of outcry from parents and from privacy advocates.
Well, I don't think it's so much privacy advocates. I think it's parents trying to protect their kids from, the real world. And that's and again, I'm not talking about a paradigm where the left is in control, obviously. I'm talking about a paradigm where, we realize that, we need to start educating children on what real human romance looks like, what family life looks like,
Okay.
and the responsibility that is entailed. So, I'm I, I wasn't really looking at this from a legal angle per se. I just think that there is a need for conservatives to really instill on children that there comes a responsibility with physicality. And it's
Oh, that
not just the fact that babies can be made.
that can
It's
be
more than
easily
that.
done when you have the biology classes that kick in around junior high school, freshman, sophomore years. You just have the biology classes that are related to human reproduction, and in those classes, those will stress. You have to have two different classes going on at the same time, but they'll be mandatory classes. The biology element will stress that the human procreative act is done for the benefit of the species, blah blah blah, and the family unit is successful to the benefit of the species. That's the odds and numbers have been played. If you have a successful nuclear family, you'll usually have successful offspring. If you have a single parent household, the odds are already stacked against that offspring having a modicum of success on an equal level. You get some driven individuals who break that mold. That's not without saying. So you'll cover it on the biological side, and then on the other side of it, I don't know if it would fall under social studies or what other type of class format you can fit it into, but there would be probably a way to do it where it's the two different courses, two different classes, and then it's up to the kids in their brains to piece the two together and go, oh, that makes sense. That if I'm going to have do anything that puts me at risk of having a family, I should know how to take care of a family. It doesn't
You
even have to
see,
be a home
now
economics.
I think
Um,
that kind of so go on mandatory. I think we're on the same
yeah, I'd
wavelength.
actually like to finish my thought from the bedridden thing,
Okay, go on.
right? It depends on how they got into that position. For example, somebody who volunteered for the military and their Humvee blew up or their plane crashed or whatever, and now they're paralyzed. I think maybe we should make that possibility available because it's part of the treatment for their service.
That they get to give a class on
No,
No,
childhood
no,
reproduction. I'm lost
no,
here.
no. That no bucks given asked should the government be required to pay for sexual services for people on disability who may be bed confined or paralyzed. And mandatory is saying that if you have served your country and you're bedridden because you basically are
because of
incapacitated in the
service.
service of your country,
Yeah.
uh, maybe you might be entitled to a lifetime supply of blowjobs
Or something.
or
There's more
something.
than one way to skin a cat. Now, I'm not going to talk about a
There
few of
is
them
a
here.
different way. Those who know of the medical industry and bedridden
Yeah,
people, there are RNs who have help to people who can't help themselves, for lack of a better word, and they just do it as quick, morning procedure, and a few minutes later, clean up, and walk away. So that is what that
yeah,
is. It's done because it's viewed as to be less embarrassing than to leave the invalid person with a morning wood they can't fix. So it's kind of done as, at least that's what various nurses over the years and other medical folks have indicated to me. They could be pulling my leg for all I know. No
no,
pun
they're not.
intended.
I
But
I know what the technique you're talking about is called, and I would
milking the
rather not
prostate,
say it. Um,
milking the prostate.
that's one of the two.
Well,
Yeah,
fair
that's
enough.
one of the two.
Well,
The other
that
one
doesn't
I
sound
don't
too,
want.
doesn't sound too vile if you have it in a comedic context or what have you.
Um, there's that. There's another one in. I'll just say a boy and his dog. Um, with
Hey,
reference to
you're the
the
one bringing
movie.
animals into it. I'm going to leave that alone.
It's a reference to the movie.
I have no idea what movie you are referencing or what sexual act we are alluding to, and I'm not even gonna pick it up. Like I have
Yeah,
no
I
interest.
don't blame you.
This isn't the
Okay.
start of Forrest Gump we're talking about, I hope.
I don't think so.
All right.
But yeah, it kind of depends on how you ended up in bedridden or paralyzed. Runner, are we stable now? Is your signal stable?
Mine or yours or whose?
I'm
Runners, because
asking Runner.
he's
He keeps
been
cutting in and out.
yeah he's been in and out for a while. I keep adding him back. But anyways, but no, I was just gonna say you're talking about the soft the biological courses. I think the point of these classes was to almost indirectly steer away from the how do I put this, from the physical aspect of being in a relationship and and exposing them to the idea of what a meaningful relationship actually looks and feels like, you know, after high school, after college, when you're actually in the in the harshness of the world where you have to provide for yourself, giving them an idea what it's actually like to have someone at your side, someone who doesn't go home at the end of the bell.
Yeah.
Well, I have a take on that I was going to allude to a moment ago. Have the economics class instead of being a senior year class. Put that again, freshman or sophomore year. And in the class, you explain that, families that are of this style make this much money. Families that are of this style lose so much money. Men and women
Well, actually,
tend to appreciate money.
if you were listening to the stream before, we actually said that the home financial classes is actually taken in freshman year. Like then the
It was
mandatory.
sophomore year for me.
Well, I would have actually said freshman, but mandatory actually brought this on because he said that kids should be reading the Kama Sutra at 17. I'm like, well,
Yes, I
what?
said that.
Yeah, and
How old are you, young man?
44.
Okay.
Wasn't born
I'm
yesterday.
not, yeah, I'm just unless you're saying we need to go back to having like the 12-year-old Jewish bar mitzvah society of biblical ages and all that.
Oh,
I don't know. That's
crap again.
17 is an obligatory number. That's just a little. You're going into some really risque territory there, brother.
well, I mean, the whole point of the stream was actually we've wandered from that topic, and I really don't feel like dredging it up again.
Thank you.
But because I actually have to cut out in a couple of minutes. But no, there's a problem on the right where we don't advertise sexuality in a positive or even I wouldn't even say
General.
positive. Like we don't talk about it at all, and that's kind of the problem. Is we have no sex appeal, therefore we kind of lose the rising generation when it comes to things. When it comes to being attractive and being enticing, like what allure is there to being on the right if you don't know the fact that that when you're living the conservative virtuous lifestyle, that there is sexual satisfaction. You have no idea. You have no
May
idea what it.
I interject here?
Sure.
Bang Energy Drink CEO, highly conservative, highly pro POTUS. Bang Energy cheerleaders and dancers at Turning Point USA. Tight uniforms, but no thongs. There's ways to do that stuff. I mean, look at Candace Owens. She's always attractive, well groomed. Even Laura Loomer, she might have had her nose job and all that, but she presents herself well. to say that conservatives aren't coming across as sexy. Dana Loesch from the NRA, she half her followers are
She's
simps
not
that,
with NRA anymore.
well, past tense. She drew all the likes because she was, fair skin, raven dark hair, yada yada. The idea that conservatives don't present themselves as sexy,
Yes.
we present
I
ourselves
know.
as classy.
I know that conservatives are attractive. Sure, I'll grant you that. But that means nothing in terms of satisfaction.
I don't know, multiple kids with the Trump family and all these other conservative families having multiple kids. They had to make them somehow.
Okay, yeah, they had to make them somehow, but where's the advertisement? Where's the excitement? Where's the where is the actual where do you actually make those wires cross where kids actually associate big families with a happy and productive sex life?
That used
Like,
to be how our media was, the characters on TV passing around cigars every time someone was going to have a baby. It's just we've gotten away from pro family. So, somehow people make having a baby as a negative, and there's a financial negative, yes, but it's actually a positive thing. Think about this: who's going to grab your shoes if you don't have a dog? You got a kid; he's 3 years old. Teach him how to fetch.
well, and you say that, but who's telling those stories?
Exactly.
And
that's why it's on us to tell new stories.
The reason why I started the stream is because there was a lovely child of God in my Discord who
Lovely.
left who yes, I still vouch for this person. I still like him. But he was in my Discord and he looked in the channel called The Dungeon where we talk about naughty carnal things, and it's a channel where I don't allow you to post images. There are no links allowed to like any pornographic content, none of that, and it's just people talking about what they prefer sexually, and mainly it's filled with outside of mandatory, it's filled with people with married couples talking about their experiences as married, their sexual experiences as married couples, what they prefer, what they like, what their home dynamic, and it's largely wholesome with some with a little spice thrown in here and there, and as long as it's intellectually stimulating before it becomes a sexual category, then I have fulfilled the purpose. But this lovely child of God decided to inform me that the existence of this forum was degenerate. And my problem is that we do have a section of conservatives, of those who are of a religious persuasion, who shy away from sexuality as a whole. And I have to put the stops. I'm like, no, we cannot. We cannot say no to talking about sex anymore. That's not an acceptable option now. We do need to be an enticing demographic.
Well, here's the thing: and this isn't a knock on any particular dogma, but when a bunch of let's just say mainstream organizations are pushing chastity only, and if you are so much as caught looking lustfully, the whole, if it's a thought in your mind, you've already committed the sin. You get a bunch of prudes that are raised up out of that mindset, that literally, ones who are literalists will take that verse and unfortunately they'll apply it to everything.
Yeah, and it's a problem of chastity becoming a greater good rather than chastity being the end result of don't touch the evil box. As long as you're not touching the evil box and the things which God has declared as bad, go forth and multiply, as Mandatory has said numerous times on this stream.
Multiply.
Yes. So that's pretty much where I'm at this point. So we do need conservatives to be a little more open to talking about the benefits of being conservative and being sexually satisfied, because it's wonderful that I have a forum on my Discord where conservatives can come and talk about having a sexually fulfilling lifestyle.
I apologize.
And-
I just heard that wrong.
Yeah. Where they have a sexually fulfilling lifestyle, and then you have to think back on this and go, oh, these people don't have to worry about being cheated on. I mean, what can be wrong with that presentation compared to everything else you see coming out of Hollywood and all of these sitcoms? It's, you know, it is by far the most uplifting thing you could possibly offer a young person. So we need to put that a little more forward, in my humble opinion. But anyways, any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we close this stream? We're going on 2 hours.
Well,
Mm.
if Mandatory doesn't mind me interjecting as I've been doing, something I used to do as a hobby, I still do from time to time, is, you know, draw superheroes and stuff like that, both male and female. And naturally, you draw them like Greek statues, you know, to be godlike and all their endowments, no pun intended. But the thing for me is, I noticed my favorite characters I made were always husband and wife duos. So that is just something for me. Is I always thought, you know, like it was weird that Batman was, you know, living with a little boy, and, you know, Superman could never commit to Lois Lane and all this stuff. It's like, if these characters were really these, you know, great templates of what men should be, you know, Spider-Man, at least he made sense. He got married to Mary Jane. You're like, hey, that's a character that is realistic. So that's just something on my end with that topic. Is, yeah, you could have conservative templates and romances and marriage and all that. And somewhere along the way, the promotion of single adulthood as being the acceptable standard, that's fine for some people. But when it becomes the norm of the society and there's no more families being formed, there's no more society. You know, Japan and Korea are perfect examples where they're at negative birth rates. And in the case of South Korea, they got higher autism than the United States. So now people there want to date less because they're worried about their children having autism. So I'll leave you guys with that to bounce off of.
All right. Mandatory?
Fucking
What?
mandatory fucking.
I have
Yes.
no words. I'm and
That's
You're
Brave New
welcome.
World.
well, on that last carnal note, everyone stay carnal and God bless. Have a nice night.
Have a great night, guys.
Good night.